Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Frama Pani. John Bamidele is interpreting for the hearing impaired. Let's see the headlines. President Tinubu joins Muslims the world over to celebrate Eid al-Kabir. Task Nigerians to keep faith with the nation as Muslim scholars hammer on sacrifice. United Nations Refugee Agency raises concerns over overwhelming humanitarian needs in Sudan. Plus, African Development Bank commits to revamping Nigeria's economy. In the spirit of Salah, President Bola Tinubu joined the congregation at the Dodan Barracks Eid Prayer Ground, Lagos State, in celebration of Eid al-Kabir. State House correspondent Musbah Wahab reports that the president enjoined Nigerians to have faith and be ready to contribute their quota of the sacrifice needed for the growth and prosperity of the country.
President Bola Tinubu returned to the Eid ground he attended for 8 years as Lagos State Governor. And now, as the #1 citizen, his immediate successor as Governor Babatunde Fashola, the Deputy State Governor Femi Hamzat, his Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila, and the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu joined in for the two-standing prayer. It was time to remind the faithful of the faith, patience, and sacrifice exemplified by the Father of Faith leading to this festival of sacrifice, and the Chief Imam said Nigeria needs Nigerians to achieve its full potential.
There must be a certain level of sacrifice, commitment, and dedication and concerted effort. As the Prophet ﷺ was reported to have said, "Hubbul watan min al-iman." The love of your country is part of it. We should be passionate about our country. We as Muslims, we have duties and responsibility to our nation. Let us be disciplined. Let us be law-abiding citizens.
President Tinubu has consistently affirmed his readiness to lead the country to greater prosperity, but he is again demanding patriotism and faith from the citizenry.
We have to make the sacrifices, and that is clear. If we have to. But Allah will not give you a burden that you cannot carry. Will not. It's there for you. Have faith in the country. Have faith in yourself. Believing that you as a citizen of this country, you must join hands. No religious identity, no tribal identity. Live with one another in joy and prosperity. It will come. Nigeria will see peace, stability, and God will grant peace to those of us who are in the war front. We spare their life. We give them victory. Those in the hospitals, we give them succor and peace and keep them in good health.
Mr. President needs your support. As you have rallied around him, as you continue to support him, Almighty Allah will continue to support you as well. This is a difficult time for Nigeria, but we will turn that corner. We will turn that corner. All the president needs from you today and tomorrow is your prayer.
There was a special prayer for divine direction as the president directs the affairs of the country. From Lagos, Musbah Wahab, NTA News.
And lessons of patience, sacrifice and obedience to Allah, as well as constituted authority, formed part of the sermon at the National Eid ground as Muslims observed the 2 Rakah spiritual prayer to mark this year's Eid al-Adha. Ilyasu Onotu Yakubu reports that Imam of National Mosque, Ustaz Ibrahim Makari, led the Vice President Kashim Shettima and other worshippers in the Eid prayer.
Joined by the Speaker, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, Deputy Senate President Barao Jibrin, and thousands of other Islamic faithful, Vice President Kashim Shettima observed the customary 2 Rakat prayers led by the Chief Imam of the National Mosque for this year's Eid al-Kabir celebration. In a sermon where he felicitated Muslims across the country, the Chief Imam, Professor Ibrahim Makari, notes that the Eid al-Kabir offers profound lessons on leadership and followership that Nigerians must take a cue from as the nation undergoes reforms that are crucial for sustainable development.
To intensify prayers for the leaders. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide them, because once the leaders are guided, once the leaders do the right thing, it's the number one beneficiary of this, their being on the right path, are the citizens.
Dignitaries, including members of the diplomatic corps who prayed at the Eid ground, acknowledged that Nigeria is on the right path, urging the citizens to show understanding and cooperate with the federal government.
This is an opportunity. You have a dynamic leadership now who is ready to move Nigeria to the next level. So this is the time to join this leadership, irrespective of ethnicity, irrespective of religious background, irrespective of region.
The Vice President has since departed Abuja for his country home in Maiduguri, Borno State. In the State House, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
Adeni Taiwo there with that report, and not Onotu Yakubu, as said earlier. Now, the Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima is in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, to celebrate Eid al-Kabir. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila reports that the Vice President paid Salah homage to the Shehu of Borno, Abubakar ibn Garba el-Kanemi.
Well received at Muhammadu Buhari International Airport, Maiduguri, by Governor Babagana Umar Zulum and a guard of honor, Vice President Kashim Shettima proceeds through the streets of Maiduguri to the colorful palace of Shehu Borno, Abubakar ibn Garba el-Kanemi, for Salah homage. The Shehu of Borno appreciates the Vice President for following tradition by coming home and making the palace his first point of call on Salah Day. Speaking in Kanuri, Shehu Borno stresses the need for government to appoint competent people to steer the affairs of the nation for rapid growth and development. Vice President Shettima appreciated the royal father's role in promoting peace and unity, assuring that the Tinubu administration will give priority to special areas of concern. He called for continued support of all stakeholders in the development of the country.
We convey to him the best wishes from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and to assure him that all the issues he has raised will be vigorously addressed, especially the issue of Dikwa Gamborungala road will certainly be addressed. That of youth unemployment, youth restlessness will also be addressed. By and large, I'm here to reassure him of the maximum support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to all the challenges confronting us as a society and as a people.
The Vice President was also hosted at Government House Maiduguri by Governor Zulum and other political associates. From Maiduguri, Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
Still in the spirit of Salah, Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar, has called on Nigeria's leaders at all levels to be patriotic and work towards surmounting the numerous challenges facing the country. He was speaking while delivering his Eid al-Kabir message shortly after the 2-rakat prayer at the Sokoto Central Eid ground. Zainab Saidu Abdul Nasser has more.
All roads leading to the Central Eid ground were jammed with vehicles and pedestrians rushing to reach the Eid ground. The 2 units prayer had in attendance the new Sokoto State Governor, Ahmad Aliyu Sokoto, Senator Aliyu Magatakar Dawamako, and the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar, among other Muslims.
Allahu Akbar.
The chief imam of Sultan Bello Mosque, who led the prayer, admonished Muslims to fear Allah in their dealings and avoid worldly things that will distract them from righteous things.
Ayyuhannas.
Special prayers were offered for peace and prosperity in Sokoto State and the country in general. In his Salah message, Sultan Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar urged leaders to do more in addressing security and other socio-economic challenges in the country. He also urged elected officers to carry everyone along and focus on fulfilling their campaign pledges. The Sultan called on security agencies in the country to fight banditry with all seriousness and urge Nigerians to pray for the country's leaders. Some of the dignitaries at the Sultan's palace, that include Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Reverend Matthew Hassan Kuka, stressed the need for Nigerians to shun anything capable of destroying their country.
We are here to celebrate with our Muslim brothers, and it's a good day for everybody. The call for us is, let us be true to the principles of our religion.
I call on all fellow Nigerians to support, the new government and give it their best so that our country will continue to prosper.
In Sokoto, Zainab Saida Abdel Nasser, NTA News.
And from Sokoto, we head to Abeokuta, where Muslim faithfuls in Ogun State have been reminded to exemplify the virtues of Prophet Ibrahim through obedience and sacrifice. Chief Imam of Egba Land, Sheikh Sabadallah Bangbola, officiated proceedings at the Lantoro Eid Prayer Ground in Abeokuta. Hakim Jimo reports.
With the enthusiasm of witnessing another Eid al-Kabir in the land of the living, faithful converged on Lantoro Eid Prayer Ground, Abeokuta, to observe the all-important 2-rakat prayer. The chief imam of Egbaland, Sheikh Sadala Bambola, while admonishing the congregation, encourages believers to emulate the qualities of Prophet Ibrahim by being faithful to God and constituted authority. A former governor of Ogun State, Senator Ibukule Amosu, and the senator representing Ogun Central Senatorial District, Salis Shahib, solicited support and prayers of Nigerians for the success of the administration of President Bola Tinubu.
Every good thing will come with some little pain, but what is important, you could see a clear direction that Bola Tinubu is providing leadership as president, and by providing that leadership, every other thing will fall in place, and there's no better time to make those difficult but very necessary decisions than at the beginning of the administration. In another 6 months, 1 year, we'll begin to see the benefit.
Special prayer was offered for the peace, unity and progress of Ogun State, Nigeria and the world at large. Egba Muslim community thereafter paid homage to the Alaki and paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo, for his royal blessings. In Abeokuta, Hakim Jimo, NTA News.
And to speak more on the place of Eid al-Kabir in Islam is Imam Fuad Adeyemi, National Chief Imam, Al-Habibia Islamic Society, Abuja. Glad to have you join us on the news on NTA International. And Barka de Salah.
Thank you, Barka de Salah, to you and to all our viewers.
Right. Now, what are the lessons adherents should hold dear as they celebrate the festival?
Well, Alhamdulillah, as you rightly said that in all the reports, it's a tripartite lesson that Almighty Allah wants us to learn from this. Faith, obedience, it is faith, obedience and sacrifice. That in whatever condition you find yourself, the essence of this Allah is that we should have sincere trust in Almighty Allah. Then we should be able to be obedient. And obedience this time around is about 3 segments of obedience. One, obedience to Almighty Allah, who is our creator, obedience to parents, then obedience to constituted authority. If you look at the celebration which we are marking, it is so unique and so important that you must have faith. It means whatever you have in this world, in this life, yes, you might have it, and at the same time, it could be a challenge to you. The Prophet Ibrahim ﷺ had no child, and when he got one, he was asked to sacrifice that child, the only one which he has. It is extreme decision that is not going to be easy, but out of obedience and faith and try to sacrifice what Allah has given to him. He called his son, and the son accepted. Even the wife, that's one area that is also equally important. The wife also accepted. So it means the father is obedient to God, the son is obedient to the father, and the wife is also obedient to the husband. So it's a kind of interwoven thing that will change the entire world. So if we are obedient to the teachings of our God, if we are obedient to the constituted authority, if the authority also consult us before they do things and they are giving us assurance, then there will be a kind of interwoven understanding which will give what I can say prosperity to everybody. And Almighty Allah in the Holy Quran, when he was talking about Sayyidina Ibrahim and the son and the family itself, Allah made the promise that their names will be there for life because of this their obedience, because of this their sacrifice, and because of the faith they have in Almighty Allah. It also teaches us most important thing, compassion and generosity. Because Allah said after you slaughter your ram, you should divide it into 3 unequal parts. One for your family, one for the friends, one for yourself, one for the friends and family, and one for those who don't have. So it means everybody is concerned, everybody has their own part in the animal which you have slaughtered. And Allah says you should that you should feed the poor from what you have slaughtered. Feeding the poor here means you have to be empathy towards them. What you have, not only the meat, not only the flesh of the animal which you have slaughtered, everything you could do to make them happy and to change their life for better. Those are the teaching of the Eid.
Now we have a new government in place. What is your charge to them as they settle down to the task of governance?
Well, thank you. I think you have also mentioned it. If you look at the teachings of the glorious Quran about this Eid, the first thing is that Almighty Allah commanded Sayyidina Ibrahim that go and slaughter your child in sacrifice to me. That is leadership. That the leadership which we have now, we see that the condition where we are is not going to be easy. It can never be easy. But at the same time, they have to decide and they have to be decisive in making sure that what they will do it based on the fear of God, based on the obedience of God, and based on the appreciation of God who has put them in those positions. If they consider those 3 things, I believe naturally we will have a better leadership. And Alhamdulillah, the kind of leadership which we have in the 2 of them, especially in the federal level, the president and the vice, if you look at even the report which you have just shown, you also discover a kind of humility and ready to listen and obedient even to the constitutional authority as even the authority themselves. So it means we have a future if they can maintain and sustain this based on the fear of Almighty Allah. Also in the type of people they will be appointing, and appoint people who could deliver, who can make a difference. I think we are going to have a better country as a nation.
Indeed, we look forward to having a better country and better governance. Imam Fuad Adeyemi, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on the news on NTA International.
Thank you so much.
Right. Welcome back. Now, still talking Salah. In the spirit of Eid celebration, friends and families usually join in merriment. However, it is important not to lose sight of the true meaning of the special occasion and the spirit of sacrifice it represents. The Aguma of Gwagwalada, Muhammad Magaji, emphasized this during a Salah homage to his palace. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday tells us how the Eid al-Kabir was celebrated in that community.
As early as 8 in the morning, the Aguma Muhammad Bagaji led residents of Gwagwalada to the community Eid prayer ground for the Eid al-Kabir prayers, the feast of sacrifice or slaughtering of animals. Chief Imam of Gwagwalada, Muhammad Tukur, who led the congregational prayers, encouraged worshippers to embrace and support charitable acts. After the symbolic slaughtering of the sacrificial ram, the Aguma and other community leaders proceeded to the palace for a special Salah homage with Salaha drummers leading the procession. Describing his palace as the Unity Palace, which has the representation of the major ethnic groups in council, the Aguma urged its subjects to tolerate each other and give their maximum support to the leadership of the country.
People would then call on them, we should give the government a full support, 100%, because we don't see the change. Now, if you go to a filling station, you don't need to join the queues. So I think after some few time, I will hope the government have a plan to bring the price down.
I learned many things from my dad. The way he take people along. He don't deal with tribalism or anything. Everybody is one. The charity he gives out and much more.
Scholars say the feast of Eid al-Kabir calls for rededication to the cause of mankind, to appreciate the gift of life and to imbibe the virtues of tolerance, understanding and good neighborliness.
He has given every tribe, every ethnic group, every religion the sense of belonging. In this palace, all decisions are taken together.
Bala Madaki Garba is the administrator, known as the Waziri of the Aguma Palace.
The big band here is the Salah. This is where you will know that the leader is there, and it has a tune, it has a track that during the festival period, the government, that is the hunters, have to come out. Is a sign that yes, we farm and at the same time we hunt.
The true meaning and essence of Eid al-Kabir is submission, obedience, and love.
The occasion, many agreed, should go beyond the slaughtering of rams to sharing love and material possessions, not only to relatives or acquaintances, but also with others at the lower margin of the society. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Thank you, Adebola, for that report. President Road Safety Officers' Wives Association and wife of the Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps, Aisha Daudabiu, has called on well-meaning Nigerians to continue to show love to the needy and less privileged in the country. She said this during a visit to an internally displaced persons camp in Apo area of the Federal Capital Territory. They gave free medical screening to the IDPs as well as food items. The Rosowa president affirmed that the FRSC identifies with their plight, especially the pain of displacement, while encouraging them not to lose hope, reminding them that better days lie ahead. Away from Salah celebrations now, African Development Bank President Dr. Akinwumi Adesina has pledged the bank's strong support towards revamping Nigeria's economy. Dr. Adesina made the pledge during a meeting with Nigeria's President Ahmed Bola Tinubu at the recent New Global Finance Pact Summit held in Paris. Justin Bem-Onye reports.
The African Development Bank President Dr. Akinwumi Adesina had a meeting with the Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu during the New Global Finance Pact Summit in Paris. The bank's president was impressed by the Nigerian leader's commitment to bold and sound policies for the country's economy, like fuel subsidy removal, and pledged that the bank will strongly support Tinubu's vision for the Nigerian economy.
And I think the whole issue of
correcting the exchange rate distortions that Nigeria has, will also free up the access to forex and also make Nigeria's currency much more competitive in terms of export competitiveness for the things that we produce. All those are right signals that the president is sending, which investors like, with the international community likes, which will also attract significant amount of investment into Nigeria. I discussed with His Excellency the President about a couple of things. First, of course, is agriculture, to see what we can do to support the government with regard to the Mr. President's vision in agriculture. We discussed about special agro-industrial processing zones, for which we already have about $520 million for Nigeria, and how we are going to make sure that that project actually gets accelerated to give quick wins to the president.
Dr. Adesina also revealed that the power sector was another issue he discussed with President Tinubu, how the bank intends to bring support to Tinubu's effort, his vision, and that of his government with regards to access to electricity. He pointed out that President Tinubu wants to ensure that there is access to electricity in Nigeria, and therefore he talked to the bank about how they can support him, and he gave him the assurance that the bank will significantly support the power sector in Nigeria.
We discussed about the youth. I've heard him speak quite a lot about young people, his heart for young people, and what he wants to do to support them. And he asked for our support with regard to what we can do for Nigeria on that. And I explained to the president that we will support with the establishment of youth entrepreneurship investment banks in Nigeria. These are going to be new financial institutions that will support the access to financing at scale, both whether it is in terms of debt or equity financing for businesses of young people in Nigeria. He has a desire to grow the wealth for young people, which is actually very good.
President Tinubu assured Adesina that the federal government will continue to provide necessary support for the bank's projects and operations in the country. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
And that's the news on NTA International. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Frama Pani, and John Bamidele is the interpreter for the hearing impaired. Have a good night and happy Salah to our Muslim faithfuls.